I travel a lot and collect the scariest, creepiest, mystical, and strangest stories from people's lives. Every new episode I record in my journal of horrors. Welcome to the world of events that exist every day around you, but you don't even suspect. Thailand is the land of smiles. Yes, it really is. But besides the kind and friendly smiles, I encountered one that still makes me wake up in cold sweat to this day. Make sure to watch this video until the end, and you will understand it all for yourself. This story happened during a period of my life when I lived in Thailand for about 2 years. Before coming to this country, I had never been to Asia. I had heard a lot about Thailand, but for some reason I was somewhat skeptical about it. I mistakenly perceived it only as a popular tourist destination that people talk about during barbecues with friends. The circumstances of my life led me to buy a one-way ticket and go to see the Land of Smiles. I rented a small apartment not far from Bangkok, in the province of Samut Prakan. I worked remotely, and all I needed was a stable internet connection and my laptop. While working during the day, I often went out to explore Bangkok in the evenings. Many locals believe in ghosts and evil spirits. They believe that evil spirits can possess a person's body and mind, completely ruining their life and the lives of their loved ones. The person starts behaving strangely. Day by day they change, increasingly turning into a puppet controlled by an evil spirit. Strange, mystical events begin to happen to their family and everyone around them. Pain, suffering, and horror become their companions. On Wednesday evening, after a long and tedious workday, I headed to a bar to have a few beers. Wednesday is like a mini Friday, so having a pint wouldn't hurt anyone. All my friends were busy that day, so I sat alone at a small table in the corner of the establishment. I loved this bar. It was small but very cozy. I struck up a conversation with a middle-aged man at the adjacent table. He was a local resident, but spoke English very well since he ran a small business and often dealt with foreigners. At first, we chatted about Thailand, local food, and the unbearable heat. Our dialogue was ordinary. After a while, I decided to ask him if he believed in evil spirits and demons. He froze for a second. His face became incredibly serious and gloomy. An unpleasant pause fell over our conversation. It was a sudden shift. In an instant, a cheerful and relaxed person turned into his complete opposite. He asked me if I really wanted to talk about it because every conversation has its consequences. I was stunned by such a response, but my curiosity got the better of me. I nodded affirmatively. "Say it," the man said. "Yes, I want to," I replied. "Stories about ghosts and spirits are just a part of our culture," the man said. "The one truly worth fearing is the monk, the faceless monk." Suddenly, the man pulled out a small folding knife and swiftly cut his left palm. He whispered something in Thai and grabbed my hand. I got scared and quickly pulled it away. The red spot of blood left a mark on my wrist, as if it were some fateful sign. He renounced Buddha, people and light, the man continued in English. In his meditation, he found something that changed him forever. Something dark, fallen, and unfathomable. He's not a human, not a ghost nor a demon. He is something else. Before driving him out of the monastery, the other monks decided to seal the darkness that had taken hold of him. They performed a secret ancient ritual. But unfortunately, it didn't help. The man fell silent and stared at me intently with his bulging, glassy eyes for a few seconds. "The snake will be dead," the man whispered. "I am so sorry." In that same moment, he stood up and quickly walked out of the bar. I sat in complete confusion and had no idea what had happened. I wanted to believe it was just a strange prank, but the man seemed too convincing. What was all this? And what did his last words mean? It made no sense. I returned home with gloomy thoughts. I tried not to think about what had happened. I was thirsty and had a terrible headache. After taking painkillers, I went to sleep. I don't know how much time had passed. I woke up from an unbearable sensation. I felt someone choking me. His grip on my throat tightened more and more. I couldn't breathe. My eyes widened. I was terrified. I wanted to jump up and run, but I couldn't move. I felt sweat dripping down my face. There seemed to be no one around. Gradually, the feeling subsided. I lay there, staring into the darkness, listening to every sound. The more my eyes adjusted to the darkness, the more I realized that I wasn't alone here. In the corner of the room stood a person. He took 2 steps towards me. It was a monk. Traditional attire of Buddhist monks covered his body, but instead of orange, it was brightly black. I don't know how to explain it, but it literally emitted a cold light. In that glow, I saw his face and immediately understood the meaning of the man's words. They tried to seal the darkness living within him, and why he was called the Faceless Monk. His eyes, mouth, and nostrils were sewn shut with large black stitches. Time had made the skin succumb to this gruesome operation, turning the face into a solid, hideous blot. Only the black threads indicated where the familiar facial features should be. His ears were severed, and the auricles were filled with wax. Numerous scars were visible on his neck. He spoke to me, but not with words. I felt sharp needles piercing my brain. Each of his words was silent, yet causing unbearable pain. Cold metallic strings rapidly pierced somewhere inside my head and vibrated, turning my thoughts into a chaotic stream of images and memories. This sound, like a resonating echo in an empty cave, continuously reverberated in my head, wearing me out. Intolerable agony engulfed my body. I couldn't bear it. The monk offered me a deal, and I agreed. The skin around his mouth began to stretch, as if trying to break free from its restraints. Black threads twitched as if they were alive. An ugly semblance of a smile distorted his face. The snake. I packed my things and immediately returned to my hometown. Gradually, I managed to get back to my usual way of life. I immersed myself in work to forget everything that had happened to me. Routine consumed me, and I was grateful for it. Wilby. Meanwhile, I started my YouTube channel and began creating content in my free time. I collected creepy, mystical, and strange stories and shared them in my videos. People liked it. They subscribed to my channel and watched every new video. The creative process gave me a sense of satisfaction and tranquility, and only one thought tormented me. I had to fulfill the terms of the deal. Dead. The paradox of what happened was that no one could know about the monk if he didn't wish it. That guy in the bar passed the curse on to me, leaving a bloody mark on my hand and uttering an ancient prayer. In doing so, he lifted his own curse, and now I had to serve the Faceless Monk. Or I could exchange myself for someone else. That was the deal made that night. The desire to learn about the monk had to be a pure intention, which could be expressed in words or actions. In that bar, I spoke my words, and you made the action of pressing play. You didn't notice the prayer I had already uttered, and I hope you still haven't noticed the mark on your hand. I am so sorry.